as we all watch on and count towards Saturday. He's brought the silverware in. He's the only man who we allow to come between us. It will be the last time as the Chief Executive of the AFL. But rather than me introduce him, perhaps we should let Robbie Williams do the honours.
How come Gil is like Mr. Everybody Knows Him? What's going on? I need to be filled because it's like Gil, you know, the Gil. And I'm like, I've got some catching up to do. I need to be informed why Gil's like Gil.
Who is this Gil? Gillon McLachlan, welcome back to AFL 360.
I like that.
You should carry that with you into retirement, I reckon.
Maybe a ringtone or something.
Yes, definitely.
He was a great guy, actually. He was a big entertainer and good company, and he gave a lot in that press conference. It was good.
Did you tell him that you were a singer and dancer as well?
No, a triple threat. No, but he was catching on. Delta brought it up. Sort of more impressed with the dancing than the singing.
Are you more excited now having Robbie Williams here than any other act that you've brought out? And I don't want to be disrespectful to Meatloaf.
Oh, you've been sitting on that one, haven't you?
Yeah, all day I was driving back.
I love the Killers.
Yeah, they were good. Lionel Richie was fantastic.
Yeah, and I thought he wasn't as big as he became, but Ed Sheeran we knew was going to be very big.
Lionel Richie, did you like Lionel Richie?
Not as much as you.
Who'd you pay more money to?
No, I've always believed you thought you'd book Billy Ocean, didn't you?
So who did you pay the more money to?
Yeah, who'd you pay the more money to, Lionel Richie or Robbie Williams?
That's a no contest. There's no one come near Robbie.
What is he? He's 1 million large, isn't he? Oh, well,
he's a big deal, Robbie, and you saw the staff actor today. He's proper.
It was a big press conference, wasn't it?
It was. So serious part to our interview, and then we want to see you off from the 360 desk. The topic of the week, the Hawthorn investigation. Have you settled on your 4-person independent panel?
Well, I interviewed some people this morning. We've gone through CVs and reference checks and others, and we put a panel to representatives of essentially both parties, really, and there's been feedback on that. We want everyone to feel comfortable with the composition. We talked about yesterday. It's an independent panel. It'll have obviously the right functional skills, but also diversity, and I think that's obviously cultural and gender. And there'll be a work through that over the coming period. So there's sort of that's occurring in real time as we speak now. And I got an email on the way here with some feedback on the panel we put forward. So we'll keep working through that. Okay.
The Hawthorn report evidently spoke to 20 Aboriginal players from this era. We've now read the case studies of 3. Is there more in that report that will cause concern and form part of this investigation?
Well, I obviously need to be careful. It's a confidential report. I'd say there was actually more in the papers yesterday and more substantive stuff than was in the report in many extents. But there's also some additional pieces in the report that haven't come out. So I think the flavour of what you read represents accurately the flavour of what's in the report. If that makes sense.
If you had the time again, would you and Hawthorn handle this any differently? Because as we sit here in the world that we know, that allegations can be made, and there's no defence. When those allegations are made, they're made. Would the AFL have liked to have had more control over this situation?
Well, I feel it's a very difficult situation we find ourselves in.
No, it's extremely difficult.
And so in terms of the way we handled it, it's been nothing to do with us. And we've had no input or control or ability to shape any part of it. So I reckon we need to make that distinction pretty clear. So there was a report, a series of interviews commissioned by Hawthorn. I'm not sure how much visibility they had over that process. We didn't have visibility over it. And started hearing some things and reached out to Hawthorn to say if they felt they were, giving everyone opportunity or on top of the report as it was being processed, and we got feedback that they were, and then the report arrives. And so I feel, we picked this up, roughly a week ago, and the report arrives, and today we still are not sure of who the people making the complaints are, and it's difficult then to start the process until we do that. But we respect greatly the courage to do it. We hope they're getting the support they need, and we're committed to getting to the bottom of this. But clearly there's also some challenges of the way it's landed for, I feel, both sides. I feel it's difficult, clearly for the claimants with the publicity, and obviously then those accused. And what we need to do is run these allegations to ground.
We had Eddie Betts on our show last night, and it was confronting an interview that we've had in our 12 years.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just about the Hawthorn, it was about racism in this country. He revealed that you had spoken to him and a group of senior Indigenous players, former players. Have you spoken to Alistair Clarkson and Chris Fagan in the last 24 hours?
I'm going to be specific because you're asking specific questions. I've spoken to both of them this week.
Okay.
In 24 hours, I think.
Okay, forget the 24 time frame. Have you spoken to both of those gentlemen about what was in the...
I haven't spoken to them any about what was in the report. I've reached out to say this will be investigated, and I hope you're getting the support you need and getting the right processes around you. But there's going to be an independent process, and I think that your version needs to be heard and got to the bottom of, but there'll be a process to speak into that. And I think this is a very difficult thing for you guys, and I hope you're going okay. In the same way, I'm reaching out to the other side to the extent that I don't know who to make sure that they're getting the support they need.
So those who have had the courage to tell their stories have got anonymity, but Clarkson and Fagan don't have that luxury. Are you fearful that the damage is already done, no matter what is found in the independent inquiry?
I think that I'm very careful that what I say doesn't diminish. We're grateful for these people telling their stories. We're grateful for the courage to do so. But clearly, I feel it's difficult when allegations are put like that without another side of the story. And I feel that and I spoke to the Indigenous boys last night about this. I feel when we're talking about the process from here, that they would want, I feel when things are said about them or put about them, they would like a forum to have those allegations tested before they'll run out. And I think we would all want that.
Just before we go on to the grand final, I mean, this is the biggest it's not a hijacking. This has really poured really cold water on the grand final build-up and celebration. Has it changed your time frame of leaving yet, Gil? I mean, would you be able to leave with this investigation still going?
I think it's a good and fair question. I haven't really considered it. I met with, obviously, KCs and senior people today as part of the interview process for the panel and asking how long they think this would take, and it's months, a couple of months, or you've got to run this to ground. People have to be available to talk, all of those things. So there is certainly an issue about whether it would be appropriate for me to leave with this on foot. The allegations are that serious, and people's livelihoods are at stake, and there are people who've suffered great trauma who need to be worked through this, and I feel that is, the responsibility for all that does sit in the remit of this office ultimately, and so there's certainly fair questions. I don't have an answer for you. Sorry,
I lied. One last one. Have you spoken to North Melbourne and Brisbane executives and boards about the possibility of Chris Fagan and Alistair Clarkson not being available for the start of next year?
No, I haven't spoken to that because that would be predetermining everything and be presumptive. I've certainly spoken to both clubs, and where they landed yesterday certainly was in line with what I thought was appropriate, and them taking leaves of absence or committing not to start until this was done. I think it's entirely appropriate that, given the scale of the allegations and the seniority of the people involved, that they stand, have a leave of absence and wait for the investigation to be completed. And that was, I worked with the clubs on that. They are club decisions, but I certainly support them.